I want to get back to that whole freedom of speech thing, the topic we kind of touched on there, and this relates to it. I don't know, man. I see it dwindling every week, every month, every year here in America. I mean, take a look at Alex Jones.
Okay.
Like, I like Alex Jones to a
He's funny.
certain degree, right?
Funny.
Some of his ideas are fear mongering and fear porn and a little bit extreme. However, we have to have that to have a reference for the other side of the spectrum. And I feel like when they took him off Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, all of that, what does that do? Like, I don't understand why he can't have his view and allow the millions of people that subscribe to that view have the ability to watch him every day. Like,
Yeah.
what's your thought on the whole Alex Jones thing and most recently London Real, right?
Yeah.
The guy
Yeah.
in London. So yeah, just kind of give me your thought on that and where we're going with freedom of speech.
Yeah,
Especially
sure.
online.
So, I mean, I think there's sort of two issues at play here. So I think that when people talk about freedom of speech and censorship, you've got two levels of it. You have sort of state or federally enforced free speech laws, or hate speech laws, as they may call them. So if you're in the UK, you're in Canada, Europe, Australia, I believe, lots of countries, let alone the Middle East, right? You have things like hate speech laws, you have blasphemy laws, you have certain things that you simply cannot say, or you could be imprisoned, fined, perhaps even killed, depending on where you are in the world and what you say. So that is one level of it. It's at the state and the federal level. The other part of it is maybe there's even three parts. Another part of it is the idea of having a platform and the ability to speak. So the Alex Jones situation. So the US government isn't persecuting Alex Jones. However, these information superhighways that we now have, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, a podcast, etc. So a lot of these platforms have decided to censor him and to deplatform him and to not allow him to use their platforms. Now, this is a tricky one because in terms of how to handle it, because private companies, for the most part, should be able to do what they want from a sort of classically liberal libertarian perspective. That's quite a fundamental belief. However, we are in a brave new world where it's not even you can't even really question the idea that a small handful of companies control a crazy amount of our information, access to information, communication, ability to express ourselves, etc. And so, firstly, I'll say unequivocally that I'm totally opposed to deplatforming and censorship against people who are operating within the law. Okay, if someone is violating the law and is sending actual death threats to people, or is calling on their followers to attack people or kill people or something, that's one thing, right? That's to me where freedom of speech hits its limits, and I think even in the USA, that is generally recognized. But beyond that, the problem you're always going to come down to is who gets to define what is hate, what is fake news, what is misinformation, etc. And so when people feel they have the ability to take that mantle and dictate to others what they can and can't say, then there's going to be a problem. And then on a third level, beyond the government level and the tech level, I think there's also the personal level, where people feel like they cannot express themselves, whether that's in the workplace, amongst friends, amongst family, etc. That sort of level of self-censorship where you feel something, you think something, but you are worried about the sort of societal or personal repercussions. And I think all three of those need to be considered in these conversations. Obviously, the first one is the most serious, and the third one the least. And it's tricky, you know. There should be you shouldn't be able to say whatever you want with no consequences whatsoever. Do I think that should be enforced by the state and the government? No. right? Like I said, to a very extremely light touch, to this point of almost no touch. On a personal level, on a family level, on a community level, etc., right? If you've got someone who's going around spewing, awful racial hatred or KKK propaganda or Nazi propaganda or something, then yeah, sure, you're fully within your rights to distance yourself from that person and perhaps even ostracize that person from society or whatever. If they're
they're going to ostracize themselves, in my opinion. That's why
they'll do it themselves.
I think I would rather know you're a Nazi, a KKK member than not.
Agreed. Which is why I don't support hate speech laws. Right. If someone wants to, in some European countries, it is illegal to deny the Holocaust. It's illegal, right? I think it's stupid to deny the Holocaust. I don't think it should be illegal, right? I think it should be stupid. I think it's wrong to call someone a racial slur or a sexist slur or homophobic slur, etc. But I don't think you should be arrested and imprisoned for it, right?
Neither. And like I said, most people aren't that way. So those individuals are going to ostracize themselves automatically if you just let that occur.
Let people talk. Look, you can't stop people. You can't legislate away stupidity.
Right.
You can, and the best thing you can do actually is let people talk. If you think that someone is really stupid or that what they're saying is totally crazy and makes no sense, let them talk and give themselves enough rope to proverbially hang themselves with.
If you want to see more videos and interviews like this from influential people in tech, finance, and sports, subscribe to the channel and make sure you hit the bell to be alerted. And go a step further and join the YouTube and membership area for early releases of videos like this. I'm out of here.